What's up, guys? We are back again with some more Commander action, and looks like I was wrong. I did have another Zur game played just a few days later in the pipeline here. This is up against SKTV, who I think I just actually played one game against him, and it was just a crushing blowout, and that made me a little bit complacent going into game two. He just queued up a game, or I did, and he either joined my game or I joined his. Whatever the case was, he's running Mangara the Diplomat, a 4-mana. It's kind of interesting, actually, a little bit oppressive. Obviously, when you see an all-white commander, it kind of generally tend to shrug off the opposition. There aren't really too many mono-white commanders that are really that scary. I think probably the one that's scariest is maybe Hikori Dustdrinker, the Winter Orb white creature. But you don't see mono-white creatures too often, at least purely mono-white. Obviously, there are a few commanders like Kenrith, for example, that are multiplayer or multicolor that are white. But I had not played against Mangara the Diplomat and was more curious to see what my opponent's deck actually was, given the fact that I think the last game was just a Lotus-induced Zur blowout. But in front of me, I have this hand that's just sort of borderline keepable, right? I've got just 2 land, including City of Brass and Wasteland, but my hand is so interactive in so many important ways. I have Teferi to bounce stuff. I have Narset to constrain card draw. I've got Force of Will to deal with shenanigans, Spell Pierce to deal with turn 2, turn 3 non-creature plays, and of course Seal of Cleansing to deal with Winter Orb or Mana Crypt. So given the fact that this hand has the ability to cast most of its relevant cards anyway, despite 2 lands, I feel like it's probably worth keeping. I just needed to really draw 1 land, and then Teferi or Narset should deliver me into the rest of the mana that I need to function and to ultimately win the game. So I decided to keep it, and I'm also drawing second too, so that makes it even better. And he has no turn 1 play, making me look even better. I draw Remand, which isn't mana, but is even, honestly, I'm actually quite happy to see that. It gives me another blue card to potentially throw away to Force of Will, and also the ability to draw cards. He's just got Command Beacon. All right, okay, so here's Miscast. So this card was actually not in the last version that I showed you. So between the last game that I recorded, which was played on the 8th of December, and the current game, I had made a number of adjustments to the deck, basically based on Nate's input about adding some stuff to make it more interactive against mono blue. So Miscast was one of the changes. And yeah, his reasoning is that mono blue is really a pain in the ass because they run so many cheap counters, and your kind of whole game is built on running out Zur. And if you're not able to do that, if they're able to just counter back, you kind of are dead in the water, and Miscast gives you the ability to just push through Zur pretty easily, as well as Dispel. All right, 3 land. He's got no play at all, so I'm looking pretty solid here. I dropped one of the worst cards I could possibly draw, Mox Diamond, and I don't really want to let my guard down here with his commander coming online next turn, so having nothing better to do, I just throw the Mox in the graveyard and move on. And then he goes back to his turn and runs out Mangara. Of course, I'm going to remand this in an instant just to try to draw. Come on, deck. Oh, Mana Crypt's good. Just need some colored mana now, and we're off to the races. That at least is some mana. I draw Reliquary Tower. So drawing the tower, knowing the fact that he played that Command Beacon second and then played 2 more lands, there's a reasonable chance I feel that he might only have 1 more, may not have any more land in hand. So with that in mind, I decided to just Wasteland here. I don't really need the generic mana anyway. Now that I've drawn Reliquary Tower, I can just play that. And I'm just going to sit here on my Spell Pierced or my Miscast and see what happens. So that goes back to his turn. He does in fact have a 4th land. There's a Guru Plains there. Mangara the Diplomat. All right, fine. Well, I guess I'm just going to throw away this dumb Miscast and Force of Will that just to keep the pressure off me. Okay, deck, come on. I waited long enough. These are like the only, well, with the exception of Tower and Strip Mine, or Tower, Strip Mine, and Wasteland. I guess they have Workshop too, but not a whole lot of cards in the deck that don't make colored mana of some color. Ah, God. A bounty of colorless riches. Unfortunately, no interactivity still. Let's see what happens here. I apologize if it's a little clicky. Draneth Magistrate. Well, look at that. Opponents can cast spells from anywhere other than their hands. Doh. I guess Zur is not coming to play for a while. I'm not sure what I'm going to do about this. And he plays Guildless Commons. It's interesting. It's kind of like a... That's so interesting. It's like a generic mana-producing Karoo. I guess it's decent in mono-white. He could play one if he's playing the original white Karoo, the one that makes white in a generic. Does kind of the same thing. Okay. Oh my God, this is ridiculous. Okay, he did not disconnect for the long term. I think he just disconnected temporarily. So now I draw Rest in Peace. Still kind of just hanging out here. Oh, he's got Mana Crypt. This is getting a little scary, actually. I don't really know what he's... I mean, I have no land, so the range of things I can actually interact with is getting precariously low. Mangara comes back down. I can't do anything to stop that this turn. Just elects not to attack. Alright, I draw Mystical Tutor. Well, I'm just going to play the Seal of Cleansing here. Since he's got so much mana, I don't really feel like Spell Pierce is any good. I'm not going to Mystical Tutor. I mean, I guess I could Mystical Tutor for Tithe and try to get some lands going. That's not too horrible. But I have some other roundabout plays. I'm just going to kill the Mana Crypt and just cut off his mana. I just felt like it was getting too scary. If he played something like Elesh Norn, it would increase the clock on me tremendously. He's tapping 5 mana. He casts Cathar's Crusade, a card you don't see too often, but... And then he follows it up with Keldoran Outpost, and now he's got the ability to just indiscriminately put creatures into play every single turn and put me on quite a savage clock. I really, really need to draw something. This has just gotten ridiculous. Come on, deck. Oh, God, how disappointing. Whew. Well, before we started on paper, I'm sure my deck was heavily favored, but things do not always go as you hope. And now I am facing quite a bit of pressure and quite a clock due to Cathar's Crusade. He is playing lands, so at least I'm not too worried about him Armageddoning or something. But this deck is looking sort of stacksy, and he might play more things to interfere with my ability to even cast anything. He makes a creature during attack step. That triggers Cathar's Crusade. I take 5 down to 29. Oh, Lord, please let me draw something. Okay, I'm going to Mystical Tutor at the end of the turn here. So I will ask my intrepid watchers, so you can see some of the changes in here. So Misdirection was added. What else is in here? Inquisition was in there before. There's Flusterstorm that was in there as well. And yeah, I mean, I guess I exiled the Miscast. Maybe we made even a few additional changes to the deck after adding those things in. But this has definitely made the deck more sort of hyper-focused for dealing with the 1v1 format. And specifically competitive 1v1 decks. Anyway, what do you get? Lots of different choices here. I can go get Brainstorm to try to go get some more valuable cards. I can go get Tithe, which would get me 2 land, which would be really, really nice. And aren't really a lot of choices outside that. Obviously, I could go get Demonic Tutor. And the more I think about it, he's down to 4 cards in hand. The Mana Vault has survived for a little while. And I kind of feel like if he had Artifact Kill in hand, he probably would have killed off the Mana Vault, given how pinched I am on mana. And that makes me think that probably the only way I'm going to actually win this game, because I can't cast Zur from the graveyard anyway, so my mana doesn't even really help me very much. The only way I'm actually going to win this game is to just really go for the combo right now, and that means I need to fetch Demonic Tutor. So, untap here. Take some more damage. Obviously, I don't draw land again. Cast DT. There's the full deck laid out. Pretty much the same familiar Esper Degeneracy. There's the Jeweled Lotus. Alright, I'm going for it. Get the Helm. I've got the combo in hand. And just gotta hope my opponent doesn't have any way to interact with it. He's got 5 cards in hand. He plays Castle Art. God, look at this craziness. He can make actually 2 tokens a turn to get double Cathar's Crusade triggers. So he attacks, and he's going to outpost. I guess it costs 2 mana, so he's 1 mana short. Actually, no, he has enough. He can go 2 and 2. He could have actually done Castle Ardenvale as well and put two creatures into play and put +2/+2 across all these guys. So I could smash down to 17 damage. If he had done that, well, I guess he can do it at the end of the turn, but he would have hit me to 14 and then untap and easily deal 14 damage by putting 2 more creatures into play. So that was literally the last turn I had. All right, cross the fingers and play and pray. Let's see if I get some land on the last turn. No. All right. Play the crypt that I've been holding all this time. Tap for white and a generic. And he gets to draw a card too, further increasing the chances he could interact. But I get to eat his graveyard. All right, I still got priority. I guess he had priority there. I play the Helm with 1 mana floating, and he scoops. And we win this game. Absolutely insane off of 1 City of Brass. Wow. I mean, the Zurless Zur winning the game, just basically pulling its ass completely out of the fire here and pulling off a game that seemed almost unwinnable a couple turns ago. But that's why this deck is totally top tier. and is definitely one of the best decks, I think, in the format. Certainly one of the best decks in my stable of commander decks. It can just win games out of nowhere, and this game was a fantastic example of that. Hope you guys enjoyed that one. Got a lot more coming, and really looking forward to recording those games, as well as eventually doing the deck tech and unveiling my new secret weapon. So stay tuned for that. See you all soon.